So, in my last game video, I kind of went over some of the difficulties I have. In this case, one very small particular thing. And it linked to the game. You know, I was having difficulty making decisions in the game, but I was also finding it impossible to do similar types of things in real life. Things that are, you know, involve some complexity, whatever. In this particular case, moving my wife's computer up here. And you can see I actually did that. She's got a better computer than I do. It's a few years newer. We bought it, or she bought it, when the noise was too heavy at the apartment we were living in Eugene, and before we bought this place. And she basically was like, well, you know, I can hide myself in The Witcher for the most part, in video games or whatever. So she spent a good deal of money on a custom-built gaming computer. She really wasn't that big into gaming. And I don't know, you know, it's kind of nice. One nice thing for me about all of this is, well, if my computer dies now, I have kind of a backup that's better, you know, so I don't have to immediately run out and try to get something like I did last time. I can still operate without one briefly, but it would be hard. This has been down in her room, you know, all along, but since she died, the only thing I did was used it to get into her Gmail account. That's about the only thing that I could get into there. She cleared her browser histories on it. But actually, I managed to get into her Amazon account as well. Some other things I haven't been able to get into that I was hoping to. So like her PayPal ended up getting frozen, and probably because notice of death and everything before I actually got around to trying to transfer the money into the bank account, which would be a lot easier. So, I mean, the bank account's a pain in the ass. I have to get named executor because she didn't leave me as a beneficiary or as the beneficiary. She didn't leave anyone as far as I know. You know, I'm going to have to like blow probably a couple $1,000 trying to get that all arranged. But it would probably need to be done anyway because she's got money in Portugal and money, I think, in Canada, from what I can tell. And just stuff to track down. And so like the few $100s that are probably in her PayPal because she got paid for some translation work, you know, that I could write off without any concern at all. I'm having a fucking hard time dealing with this other stuff, but at least I made a contact with a lawyer. I called one because one of the ones that I contacted via website, but all these websites that are like, yeah, how do you want to be contacted? By email? Great, that's fine. You know, then don't. You know, and maybe they're calling my bogus number or ignoring the fact that I didn't give them a phone number and just saying, well, too bad. Eventually I called one of them up and set up an appointment, you know. But it's like, don't make that initial contact by email possible looking if you're not going to actually follow through with it, right? You know. Shit. Anyway, so I guess the deal that I wanted to look at was, hey, there was a certain complexity to getting the computer up here. Not terribly. So first of all, one of my concerns was, hey, I've got to, you know, run an Ethernet cable. And the cables I have It's not a long distance, and maybe it could make it, but it wouldn't make it nicely. Uh, all that I know that I have are these little guys, and they'd probably reach. In fact, I can almost guarantee they'd reach, but they'd create kind of a tripwire between me and my modem and some games that I have over there, which maybe I'll do. But I need to get a longer one eventually. But that's not a reason I can't move the computer up here, especially since she had a little Wi-Fi USB thing, which didn't work very well from the basement because I've got the modem up here, the router up here. And, that's a lot of walls to go through and a lot of distance, so, I was always talking about getting a wired connection for her, but I don't know, she wasn't too keen on it, and I just, wasn't all that motivated to do it. It would actually not have been that hard if I could basically I'd have to get a hole in the wall up here, because if I can drop it all the way down to the basement, right now the walls are off in the room that's below this. Yeah, that's the other problem. The reason why I can't get my clutter under control is because my storage room is empty because the walls are off of it. It's not entirely empty. I've started moving stuff back in there, which is going to cause yet even more problems. But I don't really need the walls there. I would have liked them because, and the supports for them, because I had like vague ideas of, wow, I'd like to get like a tool board there in that room so that I can, and I guess I could do that without, putting the walls up, but I'd need help getting a tool board and getting it up there. But I have, all this fucking yard working tools that I don't really have a great place to put them, so they're lying on the floor in a carpeted room, getting grass stains and stuff on the carpeting. But anyway. It turned out the pain wasn't really the technical aspects, and I think they were covering for, moving her computer up here was a step that says, yep, she's dead, that part of my life is just gone. And that made it, harder, but it's like you hide from yourself the reasons why something's hard. Yes, I'm fully aware, yet somehow acts that acknowledge that awareness are difficult. They're very difficult. My aunt, when my uncle killed himself, ended up basically keeping his office as a shrine. And my mom was like almost horrified and disgusted by this, but she didn't like him. And I have no desire to do that. It's just so fucking hard to dismantle these things, but little. It doesn't hurt that she had so very, very little. I don't know. I don't know, because maybe if it was a mess like my psycho ex's room was when she died, uh, maybe maybe that just wouldn't be that big a deal. It would be like, wow, what a filth sty. Here everything had its place. I could put those things back where they belong, where she wanted them. Um, the other thing is, it smells nice. Um, not like my areas of that, not like the rest of the house. Uh, you know, she had like potpourri and scented candles and stuff like that. And the whole basement kind of smells nice because of this. Uh, but yeah. Yeah, she actually probably had more bathroom related products than like things for life. Not a lot of clothing. Which is really alien to me. I've never been with anyone who had more, who had as much clothing as I do. None of it fits now either, and it's all falling apart, which makes it even more questionable. But yeah, like no concept of, oh, I need something special, for going out to this kind of thing, or I need a certain amount of special clothing or anything. No, it was really all very utilitarian stuff, and anything that like she couldn't justify wearing on a regular basis, I ended up taking. I have like a couple boxes of her stuff that's in too good a shape, and some of it was stuff we just found, out on the street or whatever. I used to find clothing. They would ditch the clothing from the hotel that was on my block. Um, like the lost and found stuff or whatever. They'd keep it for a couple months and they'd take out a box of it and put it by the curb. And, there was good stuff in there as far as I'm concerned, like probably this shirt came from there. I don't know, maybe my dad got it. I don't buy clothing, right? I buy certain slop around stuff, and when I would buy things that caught my fancy, either used or whatever. And every now and then I'll splurge. But yeah, for the most part, I don't buy a hell of a lot of really useful stuff either. Um, like there's no way I could work in an office anymore. all my business casual stuff, so much of it doesn't fit me now. I've been wondering if like maybe I've got a thyroid condition or something, just because I'm a hypochondriac and I know that COVID impacted thyroid on a lot of people. I feel like I put on a little bit of weight, but I've just been excusing that with, well, I haven't been dancing, I haven't been going for the walks for the dancing, and overall, my life got a little bit less active. But since her death, I feel like I've eaten less and gone for more walks. Not, I haven't been. Early on, I was going for walks a lot, um, but it's harder now to convince myself to just go out and do things. And I don't know, my weight's staying the same. It's kind of like, well, gee. But then on the other hand, I kind of gave up the last couple of weeks and said, fuck it, I'm going to buy, the last month, I'm going to buy ice cream, I'm going to buy pie, I'm going to buy those treats again. And my weight's staying the same there too, so it probably really doesn't make much difference. I think my body just says, this is the weight you're going to be, this is how fat you're going to be, this is, what's just going to happen, and do what you want. And that's what it always did before, more or less. I mean, I don't know. Ah, Jesus. I had thoughts of trying to do a ceremony for her, just me, maybe video it for a couple of people who actually, knew her, either for real or online. funny. The only person who kind of in this town and in Phoenix for that matter, who knew her and me together enough to recognize was a very friendly cashier. Um, no one else. No one else would have known. You know, I mean, my neighbors across the street and next door, they know, you know, who she was, whatever. But so very reserved, I guess is the word, whatever, unable, unwilling, whatever, to communicate with anyone at random, really. Uh, but yeah, it was a problem we had when we were trying to get her sort of permanent residence here situation, because you know, they wanted us to prove that we really were married, you know, even though we living together and whatever. And it's like, well, we have no friends uh, other than plastic figures. Oh boy, the story of Glovey. Yeah, I mean, I'm always looking for things that might have caused an issue, and one of our friends was a fucking oven mitt named Glovey. They all end in that IE. And Glovey was falling apart. You know, it was something we had since Phoenix, whatever. And at the supermarket, I saw that they had the equivalent thing, buy one, get one free or something like that. And I'm like, oh, it would be nice to actually have two oven mitts. I mean, there are other things. Before I had an oven mitt, I used a towel, you know. And that's where it all comes from, is from Towelie. Yeah. But I used a towel. I have this kind of Rubbermaid thing that's good for heat. And, you know, but I'm like, okay, two of them, that's a good deal, because before they were like, buy two, get one free. Who the fuck needs three oven mitts? It doesn't make sense, but now they'd gotten to something reasonable. Mine was falling apart, so we bought two of them, brought it back. And it was kind of a big deal to get rid of one of our friends, even though we had two replacements of the same thing, and it was a utility object. It was kind of painful to do that. But, yeah. And anyway, today I actually looked up the actual poison and found when she bought that. And that was even earlier. That was in March of 2019. She bought the weird anti-reflux type stuff so that she could keep it down in October, I think. But that may have been a different brand of stuff. I don't know. Anyway, when I moved the computer, I decided to make a search for this poison, and that got me into her Amazon account, and I just kind of got a curiosity, looked at what was there, and, you know, I mean, some stuff that I'm kind of like, wow, that's odd, you know, I mean, you know, she bought like a phone and a prepaid card or something, but I think that was because she didn't want to have to deal with me in making, you know, certain calls that she had to or whatever. I don't know. I really don't know. Because she borrowed my phone regularly throughout, so I really don't understand what was going on there. She may have decided it was just too much of an expense to keep this kind of prepaid calling stuff. Used it for a while to try to make things easier, and then said, screw it, I'll just use his phone, which, you know, I mean, it doesn't make much difference. But Yeah. Um, and the police have her other phone, the one that she was using to listen to music on or whatever. This one was one that I just didn't even know about. But I can understand why she wouldn't tell me about it. Like, because it wasn't a lot of money, so I wouldn't have actually griped, but um, she really did not like me judging her on stuff. So like if she needed a phone, a couple times a week even, I'd just be like, well, why not use mine? Um, but it wasn't that often. So I don't know. Um, but who knows? I mean, there could be stuff that I don't understand. But other than that, it's like all just makeup and clothing. And then a couple of weird things that I don't understand. Like she bought a thing of Gorilla Tape, which I knew about because she had offered to let me use it, that she never opened up and never used. I finally did use it to wrap up, I think for what she suggested, which was for the handle of the shopping cart. But I don't know why she bought it. I just have no idea. She also bought something for curtain like some kind of curtain thing that like I don't know if this was intended for like um, the videos she was doing or something, or for something else. I don't know. Because like I said, I said at another point, she bought a much fancier camera, and again didn't tell me about this. But I'm not shocked that she didn't. She really did not like when I would be like, why would you do this? And she'd think, I'm getting all angry at her and everything. And really, I'm just, emotive and expressive, as most of you know. But I tried to keep that tone down more because, I don't know, even when we're like discussing something that has nothing to do with her, she would be like, well, why are you getting so angry about this? And I'm like, I'm not. This is just the way I am. Uh, but yeah, I don't know. But anyway, what I was trying to do was convince myself to do this kind of ceremony, but that's fucking hard. Um, I didn't want to screw it up. I only got one bag of her ashes. Uh, and there are things that I feel need to be done. It's all the same complexity issues with the computer, and they probably are just excuses. But I want to. I figured out an outfit that I'm willing to wear for it. Because it would be wrong to do it just in the crap that I have. And the thing that I first came to mind is actually at my mom's, so that wouldn't work. But I do have something that is pretty enough, and actually it's something I never wear, so it's applicable. And I thought, given my mystical leanings, etc., it would be right to have my staff, but I have been intending to dress that up for a while. And I have some string and feathers that I intend to. But then I start thinking, well, I ought to video it in case her parents or any, there's a couple of people who knew her online, want that for some reason. And then there's the complexity of, well, I can't just do it like I do my normal videos, and maybe I should, I'd have to set up a tripod, no biggie there, but maybe I should use her camera because it's better, and do some editing to make it so that it's not, just the kind of rough shit that I usually do. And that all paralyzes me, and part of me wants to do this, but I think part of me is afraid for the same reason as moving the computer, to take a step that's further, nailing down reality and saying what's real. Anyway, let's stop this before I get any worse.